Super Bowl host committee. Rodney, you've been hosting 3-4 Super Bowl. I mean, how many have you
32
done?
years.
32 years.
Dick Anderson got me on the committee 32 years ago.
32 years ago. Well, Rodney's, as you know, has been the chairman of the Super Bowl host committee here in South Florida for a long, long time. He's now been reappointed for the Florida Wildlife Commission as the chair of the Florida Wildlife Commission. And we're here today talking with Rodney. You know, it's Super Bowl week, Brett Romberg.
Big week. Extremely big week. And especially the fact that it's in the state of Florida, too. That's got to be just right in our own backyard, basically. The only unfortunate thing is the attendance, you know, with the whole COVID situation and people trying to keep their distances, and the fact that a lot of former players like myself, they're doing everything virtually. So no parties, no clubs, no get-togethers. Even the visiting team, which is ironic, the first season ever that the Super Bowl host team is actually playing in their own stadium.
Yeah.
So they actually are keeping the Kansas City Chiefs back in their own facility for at least 2 days prior to the arrival. So it's almost like an away game for the most part for the Chiefs, not enjoying any Super Bowl festivities. But although an anomaly, this is going to be probably one of the most anticipated Super Bowls in a very, very long time.
Yeah, no question about it. And Rodney, so tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Super Bowl as the host committee chairman, what that means, and are we getting another Super Bowl here in South Florida?
Oh, absolutely. I think we'll get one in either 2025 or 2026. I think, first of all, I think Florida is the big winner. If you think about it, we had a Super Bowl last year. We had the National College Championship this year. We have another Super Bowl. So Florida really is on the map. It's going to be in the eyes of all the people watching TV. It's just an amazing event for the community, for our state, and it just helps with tourism and all that. There's really a lot involved in putting on a Super Bowl because you basically partner up with the NFL. We're the ones that signed the contract with the NFL. We hold it. It's not the team. It's not in this case. It's not the Miami Dolphins, although they are a big partner. It's their facility. They turn over the stadium to the NFL. But we're responsible for security. We're responsible for a transportation plan. We're responsible for Super Bowl Live, which is an event that we did down in Bayfront Park, which is free to the public and all the people coming in town. You know, the stadium holds 62,000 fans. There's probably an additional 100,000. 75,000, 100,000 fans that follow Super Bowl. They're here for the festivities. They're here for the parties, incredible parties. In fact, I had dinner with Jim Kelly Sunday night at Redfish, and
so he's back in town.
Yeah, he's in town. But he told me, he says that he's probably not going over to Tampa. There's nothing going on.
Yeah, and
typically people would hire him to go and shake hands and do signatures and take pictures, but he said there's really nothing going on.
You mentioned that. That's a bit, because I know a lot of the NFL Hall of Fame guys, that's a big ordeal for them. This is ultimately the Super Bowl is when a lot of these guys that no longer have much income coming in,
right? They make
their money, they make their dough, and they have to socialize, and then they have the Hall of Fame dinner. With another thing that's a big thing with Dave Baker, the president of the Hall of Fame over there, and we had a big, beautiful dinner last year, and luckily we were able to get ours in just before the whole COVID thing hit. So it was I guess you could say we weren't exactly like unfortunate, that this thing happened, but we were really, really good to get it in.
Really right. Let's tell you, we were the last major event before the world shut down.
Yeah, pretty much.
We were it. I mean, and the shame of it all is that we really didn't get to take a victory lap. Miami did a phenomenal job. I mean, the NFL did a phenomenal job. The stadium did a phenomenal job. The halftime show was just incredible. Everybody was raving about. The weather was perfect, and then everything shut down after Super Bowl. It's kind of a little bit of a downer, but yes. We're trying to take a little bit of a victory lap, but we don't want to take any shine away from Tampa. We hope Tampa has a great game. We think the weather's obviously going to be great, and they're doing a phenomenal job for what in difficult times. It's very difficult.
Do you know by any chance like what the influx of population increase might do to a predominant city like such as an LA or a Tampa? Because I know Tampa's population has increased significantly as well, especially leading up to the Super Bowl, and then on top of that, Tom Brady. Any big football fan that was looking to go ahead and make a move, whether it was the COVID pandemic or whatnot. I know that's increased population for sure, especially when it comes to big cities.
Are you talking about the influx of people for the game itself?
Yeah, like in terms of millions. Like, isn't there millions of people?
Oh, so well, from a dollars perspective, I mean, we hire a third-party company to do an economic study for us, and it shows that the game has an impact of like $500 million for our community, and it's just amazing to think about. But think about if you had to buy the PR or all the taglines and all the reporters, you have 5,000 press here in your community writing stories from Miami and covering every little thing that's going on, but you can't buy that. So you think about it, like I tell my political friends, I said, who helped us, and the former mayor Carlos Jimenez was a big fan. He helped us a lot. It's a 30-second spot in the NFL is $5 million.
Right.
How many 30-second spots do you think we got?
I know, I can imagine.
Okay, so you look at it from that perspective. So it's money well spent for your community. Now think about it now. Now with COVID, now you go talk to the elected leaders. Like, man, anybody's dying to have a Super Bowl now, right? For their hotels, for their restaurants, for transportation. I mean, all those people are starving.
But I imagine it's not for Tampa. It's not going to mean quite as much as it did for Miami last year.
I totally agree with you, Andrew. I hope they get a makeover. I really do. I hope the Tampa deserves a makeover. In fact, I've heard someone told me that Roger Goodell had said that they're going to get another one because of them kind of getting the short stick here. So
that's incredible. That's a big ordeal.
Yeah,
getting another Super Bowl granted to you, and that's one of the things that I guess you could say I was taken aback by, was the amount of volume that we continuously get for big events. I'll say it, and I say it all the time, that there's no really any place in the world like Miami, whether it's the nightlife, the weather, the sexiness, the influx, the massive amounts of different backgrounds that is here. The culture alone, I think, in this city in particular, it's one of those love to hate kind of spots.
Yeah, we're an international destination,
and we know what we're doing. That's why they like coming here, because we know how to put big events on. If you stop and think of it from the NFL's perspective, their whole staff comes here and they go, oh, these guys have done it before. I mean, they know what to do. They know what we want, and they know how to execute.
Because that's ultimately what it is, right? Is avoiding a PR nightmare.
Right.
Ultimately.
Exactly.
You're in the know. How important was it to redo that stadium? Would we not have seen a Super Bowl without a redone Dolphin Stadium?
That's correct. And the reality is, if you look at the stadiums in today's world, they're these billion-dollar facilities. They're entertainment complexes, is what they are. And I got to tell you got to take my hat off to Steve Ross and Tom Garfinkel and that team over there. They have done a phenomenal job. They basically, I don't even think you can buy a hot dog and hamburger there no more. It's they have really great restaurants and just the artwork. Just think about the parking. I mean, have you ever experienced the Black Pass?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay, that's pretty impressive, right?
I mean,
you're going to go at the height of traffic, and you go nonstop all the way pulled into your spot.
Yeah,
and that is just.
I think Mr. Ross did a hell of a job bringing in Tom Garfinkel. I don't know many guys or presidents of teams that are that young, number one, that intuitive, and the know and the wherewithal to create beer gardens and multiple events at stadiums, like whether it's the tennis match that they ended up moving up there. Tom Garfinkel is by far, I think personally, one of the most intelligent young,
very smart
guys that I've ever met in this business of athletics. He's awesome to deal with. He's everywhere as well, whether it's the Miami Dolphins cancer drive that they have, any medical thing they do, anything outside of the Dolphins community for that matter. You always have Tom representing the Miami Dolphins very, very well.
He does a phenomenal job. And then now they're putting the training camp at the footprint of the stadium.
Yep.
So that's all going to just bring that whole Dolphin, because it was fractionalized,
the Davie experience,
the Davie here, and then the stadium here. Now it's all going to be under one roof. And yeah, you're right. Tom is a great leader. He's a smart guy. He gets things done. And assume they're going to have Formula One up there. So wow,
with a major tennis tournament, with the facility they built for tennis is impressive.
Very impressive. People don't, when you get into that tennis match, you come off the expressway, you go, okay, I don't know how this is going to be.
Yeah.
Once you're there, you're like, oh wow, this is something. I mean, I always kind of thought, okay, we're driving over to Key Biscayne, such a beautiful drive to go to tennis. Yeah. Well, we're not going to have that going up to the stadium, but once you're into the tennis complex, it is beautiful.
So, are you making the jaunt over to Tampa as the game gets closer, or is your work done? Basically, the Hayes in the barn.
No, Hayes in the barn. As far as me, I have nothing to do with Tampa. They have their own committee set up. What it does is each community sets up their own committee for a Super Bowl and executes the contract with the NFL. I was invited to go there, but when I asked how many people would be in the suite, and I was told 40, I said, I think I'll stay home.
Probably good.
And my wife was very happy I made that decision.
That's awesome.
I know the events, so the host committee, sort of creates events in the community. during Super Bowl week, primarily, right? Or leading into the Super Bowl. Are those all just, how do you guys come up with those? Is that something the NFL guides you on, or it's all you guys in terms of creation of the event?
Yeah, well,
figuring it out.
Well, the NFL has to sign off on a lot of the things, but we did a lot more with the community than we've ever done in the past. We built a brand new turf field out at Miami Beach High. We built 2 other ones, one down the South Dade, one up in the North Dade. We did a whole campaign for human trafficking, which has never been talked about before.
You have an Everglades campaign as well?
We had the whole Everglades campaign, which we kind of dubbed between the ocean and the Everglades. The stadium sits in the middle, so we were able to pull off that. The Ocean Conservancy came up. They just loved the partnership. They were able to kind of access the NFL platform.
Right.
So many people followed the NFL.
Well, with you being in the FWC, it seems like it's kind of, it seems like it's a pretty harmonious kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Right? So how have you ever, outside of the Super Bowl, have you ever had to contact the NFL in terms of any favors, or like maybe helping out in terms of the Florida Fish and Wildlife? Like I know, for instance, Adidas, they do an amazing campaign with recycling a lot of the Earth's plastics that they're finding in the oceans to make uniforms. Like the University of Miami has their uniform that Adidas provides for them of recycled goods that pollute the ocean. Or for instance, like NFL teams that are beachside, like maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Miami, doing like a beach cleanup kind of thing. Has that ever come through?
Well, so when we kind of put the spotlight on the environment and we talked about plastics in the water because of the Ocean Conservancy, the Dolphins took notice. Garfinkel took notice.
First stadium, right?
What he did is he eliminated all the plastics in the stadium. So everything now is basically, it's all environmentally friendly and incredible. It was tons. I'm talking about tons of plastic he eliminated. One of the things I got with Tom on was, I said, what you ought to do is take what you did at Dolphin Stadium and put it together, put it in writing, let Ross present it to the owners, then challenge the rest of the teams to meet the standard. And then come up with, how you have a LEED building that's LED.
Yes.
You come up with some kind of acronym that, you can give us the stadium and say, hey, we meet that requirement, you get the button. You know what I mean? And I think listen, you know why? Because people are demanding it. The fans are demanding it. I know, we try not to drink something with a plastic bottle, they're demanding it. I mean, so everybody's real conscious about it.
Seems like the owners, as competitive as they are with their yachts, everybody wants to have the biggest. It seems like every year the new NFL owner shows up to the city with their new yacht, and I think who's it like? I know Arthur Blank showed up with his brand new yacht last year down
Jerry Jones.
Jerry
obviously,
well, Jerry did the draft,
and the owner of Jacksonville has.
Well, I think the reason why Jerry went ahead is because of Shad. Because Shad, and there's a whole backstory about that little beef between those two gentlemen for sure. Jerry was the only NFL owner to vote no when Shad Khan wanted to become the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's like a little bit of a.
So I got a great Super Bowl story. So we were bidding on the Super Bowl back then. They don't really bid no more. Now they just select.
Right.
But when we actually had to bid, we make presentations. And in the past, I've used Shula, I've used Marino, I've used when the one we won this one, we used the fullback, Larry Zonka. But we were in there, so the owner couldn't speak back in the day. So I would make the presentation, and then if you go to the second round, then the owner gets to speak. So we were in the second round against Atlanta, and Arthur Blank gets up and he says, hey, if you come to Atlanta, you're going to be treated Southern hospitality. You're going to have the quail hunting. We're going to roll out the Southern hospitality. And so then Wayne, we kind of caucused, and Wayne gets up as the owner and he goes, I just talked to the chairman of the Super Bowl committee. If you come to Miami, we're going to give each one of you owners a yacht to stay on. And you can eat that quail on the back of the yacht. And Wayne was so good. He was so quick on his feet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Everybody just rolled over laughing.
But it's not a competitive process like that anymore?
So no. So now what you do is the NFL sends us basically a two-page memo. And it says, here are the minimum requirements. If you agree to these minimum requirements, then you're going to get one.
Yeah,
you're going to get one. Eventually you'll get one.
Gotcha.
We've already signed that document. So.
That's a great story about that. Yeah, by the way, you can eat that. That's incredible. I played for Atlanta, so I'm very familiar with the Southern hospitality or Arthur Blank. And that's a great story. That really is. Let me put my cigar out right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wayne Izinga and Mr. Ross? What's the difference?
We're both very successful.
Right.
Wayne is very, very warm, and he was a consummate salesman. I mean, he was sharp. So I mean, Ross the same. I mean, these guys are in a totally different league. I mean,
Wayne was here though, right? He was residing here, and then Mr. Ross is usually for the most part up north
in New York.
Yeah, I got some great Wayne stories. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, he called me up one day and he says, "Listen, that you're going to be making the presentation on Super Bowl. I need you to throw into your presentation, if they bring the Super Bowl to Miami every 3 years, I'll guarantee each owner $3 million. So that's $100 million." So I make the presentation, and they all look at Wayne like,
who's this guy?
Yeah, they like. Wayne was kind of a relatively, even though he was an owner for 20 years, he was really kind of a new owner. If you think about it, some of those families have been
there forever.
So they all kind of looked at Wayne like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, and he said, "Listen, we're going to give him each $3 million, $100 million."
What an incredible incentive.
And they balked. They did because all right, where's the catch here? But he was just incredible. He goes,
he said he's a salesman.
Oh man, he was great. Like he goes, "Hey, how are you going up to New York for the presentation?" I said, "Well, I'm flying American Airlines." No, you're not. I'm sending one of my jets to take you up there. Don't worry. I mean, he
knew how to do it right.
He knew how to do it. It was just, yeah.
It was a shame he went through all those years with really not much success for the team itself, the Dolphins.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he really did bring these sports together for our community.
Well, no, he changed the landscape.
Yeah,
in our community for sure. I mean, we wouldn't have baseball, we wouldn't have hockey if it wasn't for Wayne Huizenga.
For sure.
I'm not sure of how much dealings you might have had with other owners, but what other owner, and we'll go aside from the favorite of Mr. Ross, but what other owner that you've had conversations with that you have been thoroughly impressed with or would love to do business with throughout the NFL?
I tell you what, I had another great story. I was sitting with Wayne and the owner from New England,
Mr. Robert Kraft.
And it was kind of funny. Wayne looked at me and he said, "Hey, we're going to have a new commissioner for the NFL." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Who's that?" And I go, "Well," I said, "Who's that?" He goes, "He's walking towards us right now." It was Roger Goodell. Because you should get to know him really well.
Oh, so he called that guy before it even went down. Really?
Isn't that something? And it was Kraft. And if you look at it, you're right. Then Kraft's kind of like obviously very friendly with Goodell. So
yeah. Oh boy.
Did you deal with the commissioner before Goodell? So you were dealing with Tagliabue, or is he dealing with the commissioner?
We're dealing with the person in charge of the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
But Roger's involved. I mean, we're friends. I mean, I've been dealing with him. He was a lawyer. He grew up through in the ranks.
How do you feel about the fact that, because for instance, being a former player and then understanding the amount of money that those guys earn, if you separate it and look at it as a businessman, the enterprise that Goodell is in charge of or overseeing, that money's justified. The $50 million a year, or whatever his salary is that he makes, is justifiable due to the fact that it's a $15 billion, $16, $14 billion industry.
It's what you pay someone that's running a business,
right?
Like that.
But as a player or as a guy outside, you hear of Roger Goodell's salary of $50 million and not understanding the intricacies of what goes on behind closed doors. Are you able to swallow the $50 million salary?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation being run by him. That's what guys at that level running those types of corporations.
I don't think his salary is $50 million, but I mean, I think he's got a base salary of like $5 million, and then he's got some incentives.
Yeah, but I think his compensation was around $50 million.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's taken the NFL to a whole nother level. You got to give him credit. I mean, remember you got a game now on Thursday night.
Right.
You got
it's almost every day of the week now.
Yeah. You got a Monday night game. You got this, obviously Sunday. The draft. The draft is now like a huge event itself. The draft. I mean, he's done some really remarkable things. So I mean, and I think he's taken it to a whole nother level. I mean, I think he's got what, Fox owning Thursday night. He's got the other network owning this one. So he's been able to kind of. He's made these guys a lot of money.
Are you as surprised as I think we are that the NFL was able to get through this season the way they were? I mean, we did both. Brett and I didn't think the NFL would get through this.
You know, I mean, privately, I kind of always thought, okay, as soon as you have like one coach die of COVID or one player die of COVID, game over.
Right.
You know what I mean? And none of that's happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, and
no, they've managed it great.
They're managing it the right way. And I mean, look at basketball managed it the right way as well. So, I mean, my sister went to a Heat game the other day. She said that they had floor seats and they went down and they had to get a COVID test. You got to wear your mask the whole time. When you're inside, you have to have mask on full time, no alcohol or no food to eat.
Wow.
So I don't know how enjoyable that is.
And mind you, they're still billing you for the season too. Of course.
Okay, so Rodney Barreto, we need to know your prediction here. Tampa or Kansas City? Who you got this week?
Personally,
yes,
I'm all in for Brady. I want to see him to stick it to Belichick.
Isn't it crazy? Everybody I'm talking to, if you would have 5 years ago, if you'd asked people Miami, are they rooting for 2 years ago, are they rooting for Brady in the Super Bowl? No, everyone's against them. But now I can't come across a person that doesn't want to see Tom Brady win. I mean, it's just the story, the way he left New England, 43 years old. How can you not root for the guy?
Would you have the same favoritism for Tom Brady if it was Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl and Tom was obviously out? Would you be wanting to vote for Belichick because that marriage has separated now, or would you be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes guy?
I'm not a Belichick fan
at all.
So
you must have had some.
No, I'm just not
cold
a. I'm just not a. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think there's. You know, I don't want to point fingers. I'm just not a fan.
He's going to leave it at that.
So should we ask him a Tony Bosch question? No, I don't think so. But so you're rooting for the Brady and Tampa. Yeah, we all are.
Home team. Come on. Yeah. You know, it's a home team. I mean, they're going to create history. First of all, he'll be the oldest quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And then secondly, he'll be the first player ever to is the host team hosting the Super Bowl, you know, get that victory. I mean, those are great stories.
We had
not the fact that he's going to make $500,000 winning the Super Bowl.
Of course. You know,
that doesn't hurt either.
We had a former player that I played with who does a lot with the Tampa Bay area, now Anthony Beck. We had him on last week. And Anthony brought a lot of things to light in terms of the way that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers operated last year. The 7-9 team, the record, people going in with dismal hopes of even playoffs, and then all of a sudden signing Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, like a bunch of different puzzle pieces that, you know, never really looked too optimistic in the past. Now, all of a sudden, people are moving to Tampa. People are getting excited about the Buccaneers. And now, even myself included, I even said at the minute that happened, Tampa Bay is going to be the first team to host the Super Bowl. Like I said that a year ago. And I'm really pulling for Tom. I really am.
Right.
The fact that Mahomes and all these guys, I think Mahomes is going to be great for a long time, and so will the Chiefs. But the fact that Tom Brady is able to do this with the amount of people that said his career has been done for years and years and years, and how bad he looked at the end of last season.
Well, and you look at in the history of the game, you know, players that have moved late in their career, like Joe Montana,
never really worked out.
You know, they would be able to bring their team to the play, or Brett Favre, but never quite close the deal and make it to the Super Bowl. So it's impressive in his first year at Tampa, he's able to do that.
And also the validation of that marriage splitting up of who's more important than who. You know,
right.
I really do feel that you put Tom Brady on just about any team, I think.
Just goes to show you a quarterback is that important.
That's unbelievable.
In the most important position in sports.
I'll tell you what, he gained a lot of people's respect the way he treated the quarterback from Green Bay after the game.
Yep.
Went up to him and gave him a big hug.
Totally.
You know, and then threw the football with his kids and just wanted to make sure he was okay. It was his last game. He's retired.
You're talking about the Drew Brees in New Orleans. That was really nice.
I mean, that was in New Orleans. I'm sorry.
New Orleans, yeah.
Just the way he handled that was just so.
And the way he kept his mouth shut too. Usually, like, you got a lot of, you know, people that will have a little bad blood and a little animosity leaving a situation that he's been so comfortable in for so long. And for him to keep his mouth shut about any relationships or burns or things that went on behind closed doors, that's a big man to do that. That's a big man to not leave salty the way that he did. So yeah, my hat's off to Tom Brady, and you know the going home to Giselle thing too.
I mean, he's got too many good things going on. Can I resent him just a little bit, for God's sakes?
Usually, somebody that gifted has something wrong. You know, there's got to be something.
Hey, he bought property in Dade County. I didn't like him for that.
Did he really? Tommy bought some stuff here.
Yeah, he bought over at let's see, Lagorce Island. Was it Lagorce?
Oh, he did?
No, Indian Creek.
Indian Creek.
Oh, cool. At the golf club.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, so maybe we'll see him and Giselle at the Indian
Yeah.
Creek Country Club
Yeah.
sometime
They
soon.
didn't want to move closer to me.
I guess
Fortunately.
no one does, Brett. No,
My wife's gonna be terribly
everyone
upset.
knows better than that.
My wife's going to be upset about that.
What? Oh, yeah, she loves
She loves
it.
Tommy. The only time that my wife came to watch me practice was when Tom and the Patriots came to town. And we were up there. My wife and my mother-in-law showed up at just about every practice. And I was like, you guys keep coming to practice. I've never seen you before ever.
He couldn't quite figure it out.
Come on, man. Yeah.
You figured it
I
out
found
pretty
out quick.
quickly.
I
Yeah.
found out quick when every time I'd come home, she'd be, Tom's just too skinny. I didn't like the way that, he didn't look good in his uniform. And I'm just like, what about me and mine? You never comment on mine. Yeah.
I got a couple of questions for you, Rodney. Now you're back on as chairman of the Fish and Wildlife Commission here in Florida. There's a problem with the you had mentioned before we started you were on a python hunt in the Everglades, and it's been an ongoing problem. Is that the biggest problem we're dealing with? Pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of issues, I guess, with the water quality. We've seen Biscayne Bay, some of the problems here, the Everglades with the snake influx of snakes. Are those some of the bigger problems that you're dealing with in the FW?
Really, I mean, first of all, I think a lot of people come to Florida because of our lifestyle.
Yes.
We're surrounded by water. We got beautiful beaches. Our birding activity is one of the best. If you love birds and want to go out and with binoculars and spot them, and that is just phenomenal to do in Florida. The python is an issue that I raised something like 15 years ago when I was chairman way back then under Jeb Bush, and called everybody attention to it. Then we started a python challenge, and we did it during Super Bowl too. We did
That's really cool.
We did the python challenge as well, to give it the attention it needed. But there's all kinds of challenges. Any kind you have a evasive, non-indigenous animal that's brought into your community can wreak havoc. We got these Tiva, the big lizards. We got the iguanas are totally out of control. If you talk to anybody,
all up and down Old Cutler 57.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I mean, that's a constant battle for the agency. We actually have an issue coming up in the next commission meeting where we're going to outlaw a lot of the stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking of outlawing things, I'm both in the Keys and I'm here, and the influx of crocs, the saltwater crocs that are coming around. I know the ones that are in my neighborhood in Isla Mirada and Venetian Shores. We got a couple like a 14-footer or 12-footer, and then you got a couple small ones now that have been spotted on people's floating docks and that kind of thing. Is there ever going to be a point in time, because they are those type of
they're federally protected,
back, right?
Yeah.
But they also come back the minute you try to remove them, they'll go back to exactly where they're at. What could possibly be a solution to somebody that, whether it loses a dog or heaven forbid something happens to a kid?
Well, we'll move the reptile in that case.
You guys come in no matter what and take care of everything.
Yeah, we do. And
but never will they ever be put down or
no.
Nobody. What's the consequences for killing a croc?
Well, you'll be violating a federal law. They're federally protected. So I don't know.
You're doing jail time, or
you probably get a jail time.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
It's probably a federal crime. Yeah.
Yeah. I better not see you in
crocodile
boots and stuff. Too.
I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah, you're asking for
what kind of shoes does
So,
but what are we going to see? You mentioned, so there's going to be some more restrictions coming
we're
down?
going to have to, because we can't allow people to bring foreign reptiles into our community and release them. We're having a big, you're a diver, like the lionfish is a big problem. Okay.
Massive.
And so, we're going to have to regulate this better, where there's some legislation that we will be looking at that will basically outlaw some of these,
So we can expect that
remember, you have a whole universe of breeders out there that sell this stuff on on the internet, or storefront. I mean, so so we're working with that. So we can expect this in the next legislative session? No, actually, no. The Fish and Wildlife has their own rulemaking authority.
Okay.
So we don't have to take it to the legislature. So we'll pass the law.
Got you. So that's in the
works.
In the works.
Yeah.
So lionfish probably outlawed.
Well, yeah. I mean, but we got a big problem with them.
Yes.
You can't eliminate them. It's just we're trying. But you can see what something like that, these pythons, they're ferocious eaters.
What do you say to someone with the ASPCA, as an example, that might say to you, well, it's inhumane to kill these animals, like the pythons, as an example? What would be your response to that?
Well, we're going to kill them. So, yeah. So, they came after me during the Super Bowl last year.
Did they?
We did the Python Bowl is what we did. And we had the governor down here and we had Johnny Morrison, Bass Pro, helped us out. We gave great prizes out. And we had, 22, we had participants from 22 different states come to Florida.
That's awesome.
To hunt for these pythons. And they ran a big campaign against me, saying that we shouldn't be euthanizing these snakes and blah 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 blah. But once you kind of walk them through what the snakes are doing to the 79,000
other
the 79 animals that are out in the Everglades, that are the native animals, you say, well, listen, they're like wrecking havoc. Then they kind of.
Well, I remember the image that's very clear to me is seeing a photo. I think it was in the Miami Herald of a snake basically engulfed an alligator or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, it shows you the nature of the problem.
Right.
That one visual, but obviously these are things that you got to balance out with the FWC.
And then, listen, you don't do it all for naught either. So there's a market for the skin. People make boots out of them. They make wallets. They make, heck, I got a Python wallet.
That's why I was going to ask you. There's got to be some kind of fashion design, clothing designer that is willing to repurpose that, like sponsored by Louis Vuitton, Rodney Barreto's, Python bowl.
But don't, you kid that. But, we have gator farms here that are owned by the big manufacturers. That's
Good
all
point.
they do. So, but yeah, so it's not, for not, I actually had footballs made out of the python skin.
Did you really?
Oh, they're beautiful. Oh, they're really beautiful. And that was part of our giveaway when we did the python.
Oh, that's incredible. Actually. Yeah. The trophy would be a football. That's a great idea. Actually,
I got to show you one. I got to get one over to you guys.
Yeah, it'd be great. But listen, you bring us one of those. It'll be back on one of these shelves.
Okay.
In every one of our broadcasts.
All right, I'll get you one.
Community News. Well, Rodney, any parting words? Anything you want to let us know? I'm excited to hear we might have a Super Bowl here in another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, we're working on it. I mean, I think we're deserved one. I think we did an incredible job.
And you do expect Tampa maybe to get a gimme, huh?
I heard that I talked to the chairman there the other day, Will Weatherford. He's the former Speaker of the House, great guy, good friend, and they got from Goodell was they should be a makeover for him. Now listen, it's up to the owners. The owners decide where these go. So it's. LA is going to get one. Anybody builds a new stadium, once the stadium's open a year, they get one. LA is going to get one. Las Vegas is going to get one. So
I could only imagine what's going to go down in Vegas. Jeez.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Do you think if there's a new stadium built in, outdoor stadium in Detroit, should they really have a Super Bowl?
I was up there for that Super Bowl.
I was the Canadian ambassador, actually, during the Pittsburgh Steelers one, right? You're talking about, I was the Canadian ambassador for that Super Bowl. And the amount of people crossing the border coming into Windsor, to Detroit, you had Greektown. Well, right now, I think they've actually labeled Detroit in the last couple of years. It's been like the #1 sports fan hub. They might have got it maybe 3 out of the last 5 years. Where you have Little Caesars, the hockey arena for the Red Wings. You have the Silverdome, and then you got the park. Right. You got the ballpark right there for the Tigers. And the relatively successful ball team. And then I don't know what Detroit's going to do now that Stafford's gone, but it's a it's fan hopped area.
Yeah, it's a rejuvenated area.
When I was there for the Super Bowl, I was going to the Taste of the NFL. We had a driver, and we were caught in a snowstorm, and we didn't get there in time. The event was over by the time we got there. So there's
that's a problem. I know when they had it in New York with the new stadium, the Giants Jet Stadium there, it's an open air stadium. There's a lot of talk. Should there be a Super Bowl in early February in an open air stadium?
But actually, I kind of like the elements. I think football's made to be played in the elements. I don't think they need to be in these, they don't need to be in a climate controlled stadium.
I don't know. I think it should be in Miami every year.
Well, I agree with that. I knew you would. But I think it's great for the economy. It's great for the hotels, the restaurants.
That's for sure.
Rental car companies, Uber, Lyft. I mean, think about it was 10 years since we had last had a Super Bowl. Think of all the things that changed in 10 years. Uber, Lyft, all the different things that the emerging neighborhoods of Wynwood, the Design District, Brickell, all that wasn't around 10 years ago. So. We had we had an opportunity to show Miami, the new Miami off last year's Super Bowl. that's what we got.
Well, hopefully, guys, we'll have the opportunity to show it off again real soon. Rodney Barreto, thanks so much for joining us today on Romberg and Korge. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We'll see you again soon. Thank you for joining us, Romberg and Korge. Remember, every Wednesday live, 10 a.m. to noon, right here at Miami Community News. We'll see you next week with another great show. Should we make a Super Bowl prediction before? Can we get your prediction?
Yeah, I'm just going to go based off of their last 6 games. I'm going to give Tom Brady and his offense 34, 35 points, and then I'll give the Kansas City Chiefs their meek 25 points. Because I think the fact that you got a couple Kansas City Chief offensive linemen not being able to play,
that'll be the difference.
I think that's going to be a giant difference maker. And then obviously you got Tom Brady's weapons with his wide receivers, maybe picking on the defensive backs for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, there you go. That's your prediction. We'll see how good it is next week. Tune in right here, Romberg and Korge, Miami Community News, and we'll see how good that prediction is from the big guy right next to me. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week right here at Miami Community.